South Africa to get Julius Malema to come and give a keynote speaker as a freedom fighter all the way from South Africa. But you people are lawyers called to bar. I'm so shameful to identify with Nnamdi Kanu just because he's Igbo. Just because not born Igbo. Shame unto you people. I am open for litigation. Nonsense here. Alona put in the banyi. Kenu kebo no so kedi nezi na akalu no mma. So kodo se menezi na akalu no mma. Olula na tonye zunu nche nuko jeba na akwaka. Mana kimu no na emu ni ifele. Kanku eni Igbo ka obuno susu nu obu ndi Igbo maka na ifelu na ejumiru. Ifeni ne bu ndo kibe bu ndi Igbo ifelu na emegbu. Wo. Oburu ni atom nga to omunga. Ifelu na emegbu. Una watch a post so Jebolo Malema all the way from South Africa. Obianyelu nu keynote. Freedom fighter na akolo Malema. I respect Julius Malema so much. Mana na enu mkunu. Nwanne unu. Unjustly held. Nothing to be proven in the court of law. Proven to reason eji detain no na DSS. No reason. Manunu ncha na anya elo ngu na sanda call to back.
This is very sad that Nnamdi Kanu unjustly held behind the DSS dungeon for alleged trial, yet the government of Nigeria had not been able to convince him beyond any reasonable doubt of those count charges being alleged against him. On the 13th of October, recall that the appeal court, one of the appellate court of law within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence, declared Nnamdi Kanu discharged and acquitted and dismissed all the count charges being levied against him before the 6-man justice panel that was set to review the case after rigorous legal process. But ever since then, Nnamdi Kanu has been incarcerated in DSS dungeon for no justifiable reason, being a prisoner of conscience, just for expressing his legitimate right of self-identification, preservation through self-struggle for the independent state of Biafra, which is a right protected under international laws. Nigeria being a signatory to these human rights charters. It is quite a very disturbing development. In the bid to express the injustice being done and sustained against his personality, what he considers to be a miscarriage of justice, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, explodes and has petitioned the Nigerian Bar Association as the ongoing convention or national convention is ongoing in Enugu, the eastern part of the country. This is quite a very worrisome development, and this definitely is to demand that the Nigerian Bar Association should look into the continued miscarriage of justice being experienced in the discharge of his case. Now, let's read from the Vanguard online newspaper what that says. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, blew hot as he petitions Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, seeking sanctions against 3 judges, Justice Biata Nyako, Haruna Sumani, and Garba Lawal, for alleged gross judicial misconduct. Kanu, in the strongly worded petition he personally signed and made available to Sunday Vanguard through one of his lawyers, Umesi, accused the trio of miscarriage of justice. In this in his trial, recall that Kanu, who was extraordinary rendition from Kenya since June 2021, has remained in detention at the Abuja headquarters of the Department of State Services, DSS. The IPOP leader chronicled the alleged offenses of the judicial officers against him, urging the NBA currently meeting in Enugu to investigate them and take appropriate measures against them. It is quite interesting. Kanu also urged NBA to publish a report condemning the use of civil procedures to subvert criminal law and the restoration of appeal status, affirmed that no Nigerian should ever again be detained by adoption or trial under a repealed law, and to hold errant judges accountable, restoring public confidence in the bar and bench. According to him, the catalogue of alleged infractions of the trial against him now stands as an unerasable blot on Nigeria's legal conscience. Wow, this is quite very worded and loaded, as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu expresses deep disappointment and over the perceived injustice and miscarriage of justice carried out by these three personalities or judges who he has, of course, petitioned in his awarded and loaded petition to the NBA. It is a very welcome development, and as such, I believe the Nigerian Bar Association will review that and possibly make out the right sanctions to serve as a deterrent to other people who might want to have a repeat of such. There is no country that survives outside justice. And when justice is perceived to be miscarriage, then it is a very disturbing development, and that could definitely erode the confidence of the masses. And if nothing is being done, such country or society should be regarded as lawless, and it's a very worrisome development. Nnamdi Kanu, arrested under controversial circumstances and extradited to Nigeria in June 2021, that is how many years now, had remained in the custody of the Department of State Services despite multiple court rulings, including a landmark judgment by the Court of Appeal ordering his release. The federal government has resisted compliance, citing national security concerns. His prolonged incarceration has triggered debates over the rule of law, constitutional liberty, and Nigeria's democratic image before international communities. It is quite interesting. In his latest outburst, Kanu accused the Nigerian judicial system of deliberately frustrating justice. Judicial manipulation. He alleged that court processes are being deliberately delayed and distorted to keep him perpetually in custody. Violation of human rights. According to him, his right to a fair trial and presumption of innocence has been completely eroded. Executive interference. Kanu insists that powerful forces within the government are influencing the judiciary to achieve political ends. Of course, citing health concerns, he lamented that his health is deteriorating in DSS custody, according to authorities, accusing the authorities of denying him adequate medical attention. That is a very worrisome development, honestly, and it has its legal implications. A very disturbing one for that matter. And we do hope that justice will be served, regardless of the interests being expressed by certain quarters. It is very disturbing. What I face is not justice but persecution. The refusal to obey court orders is not only an affront to me but also an insult to the Nigerian Constitution and its judiciary, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu argued while in petitioning the Nigerian Bar Association. He intends to defend the sanctity of court orders, urging the association to compel the federal government to obey judicial rulings, particularly the Court of Appeal judgments, which happens to be one of the appellate courts of law within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence. Protect the rule of law, stressing that silence from the legal body emboldens executive rascality or recklessness in that regard, expose injustice internationally, recommending that the NBA leverage its partnership with international legal bodies to spotlight Nigeria's declining adherence to the rule of law. Very important as this case is. Now, the legal community has been the Nigerian Bar Association. Many senior lawyers have described the case as a litmus test for the independence of the Nigerian judiciary. For human rights groups, civil society organizations have condemned the government's defiance of court orders, warning that it sets a dangerous precedent. And internationally as well, diplomatic observers note that Nigerians risk international embarrassment, especially as global human rights bodies closely monitor Kanu's trial. It's a very interesting one because this has changed the entire trend of events as global stage. Human rights bodies are now interested in Nnamdi Kanu's case. Nnamdi Kanu explosive allegations and his petition to the Nigerian Bar Association have rekindled debates over justice, fairness, and the sanctity of the rule of law in Nigeria. The lingering standoff between the court's pronouncement and government actions highlight a deepening constitutional crisis. Whether the NBA will rise to the challenge and confront the federal government over compliance remains a defining question. For now, Kanu's voice resonates not just as a detainee, but as a symbol of resistance against what many observers describe Nigeria's growing disregard for judicial authority. It is a very interesting development, honestly. Kanu's voice now definitely resonates, not just as a detainee, but as a symbol of resistance against what many observers describe as Nigeria's growing disregard for judicial authorities. And that brings to view or perspective the independence of the judiciary within the Nigerian legal framework, which has remained a most controversial position, that the judiciary within the Nigerian system has no independence, and as such litigations could be grossly influenced by the executive and leading to judicial manipulations, as is being alleged that the court processes have been deliberately delayed and distorted just to keep perpetually the detainee in custody. And definitely that does not augur well with the standards that is raised, of course, as far as Human Rights Protection Act is concerned. These gross violations of human rights could be considered as a state of decadence within the society, and that definitely will rubbish the reputation and the image of Nigeria in international communities. Let's have your own take regarding this development.